And I'd like to welcome everyone to our Tuesday 1:30 p.m. session today, where the Parkinson Foundation of National Capital Area, presented by Jan, will be doing a special senior highlight for us with one of our very own seniors, Louise, where we'll be doing a Living with Parkinson's Stories of Strength and Resilience session. And thank you so much for attending. I'm going to go ahead and read our disclaimer before we get started. The WildTech DC Senior Digital Equity Program is owners and presenters offer technical assistance, virtual health, well-being information designed for educational purposes only. You should not rely on the information and any apps or topics made by WildTech, including but not limited to mobile device applications and any social media pages maintained by WildTech, its owners or presenters as a substitute for professional medical advice, diagnosis, treatment, or legal advice. Thank you so much for letting me read the disclaimer. If you cannot see us or hear us, please let us know in the chat. We would appreciate that. Let's make sure to keep our TVs and cell phones in mind. And as always, make sure you take notes and or screenshots so you can review the information for later. But this session will be on our YouTube channel, so make sure you review it as much as you'd like there. First up, Louise, if you could introduce yourself to the group real quick, and then we'll have Jan.
My name is Louise Allimore. I'm from Washington. I'm living in Washington, D.C. I'm from Jamaica, and I'm one of the seniors who have been living with Parkinson's disease.
Thank you so much, Louise. And thank you so much, Jan, for coming on. If you could introduce yourself and your topic for today, we'd really appreciate it as well. Thank you so much.
Hi, everybody. I'm Jan Hatherall. I'm the Director of Operations for the Parkinson Foundation of the National Capital Area. I came from England in 2018, and my husband was diagnosed with Parkinson's in the same year. We came because we only have one daughter, and she met and married an American. And then we found out about the Parkinson Foundation of the National Capital Area. And I started working for them in 2019, and I'm still working for them, even though I'd retired from my day job in England back in 2016. I find myself, but it's a really good thing to be doing. Why I like doing it is because I like the opportunity to feel that I am actually making a difference to not only my husband's life, I hope, but also to the lives of other people who are undergoing their own Parkinson's journey. And it is a very odd condition, Parkinson's, as we've discussed so many times before, in that it is different in every single person. Oh, that's my reminder. Sorry about that. It's different in every single person. And so, you know, although there's always lessons that we can learn from other people, we also need to bear in mind the exact experience of the person that we're talking to or interacting with who might have Parkinson's, but perhaps hasn't been diagnosed yet. Okay, so I'm going to share my screen and I'm going to show you the video which we've produced from the interviews I did with Ms. Louise and also with Adrian, and hopefully they will promote some questions in yourself. So if I share my screen, and there we go, that's what I want to.
And the sound as well.
Yep, I hope so. Let's be hoping that that's what's happening.
So it's going to be Louise first, and then would you like to take questions, or do you want to show the whole thing first?
She's put it all through so that it goes right through in one thing, okay?
Okay, that's great. So again, please get your popcorn ready, get your notes ready, get your this is an amazing thing that we did together, Jan. And again, I'm so appreciative of this opportunity, and we're highlighting one of our very special seniors today. So I look forward.
Just before I press play, can I just check that everyone is seeing the screenshot at the beginning of the Parkinson Foundation and WildTech?
Yep, your screen share is good to go.
Excellent. Okay, let's hope. Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Jan Hatherall. I'm the Director of Operations for the Parkinson Foundation of the National Capital Area, and I'm very grateful this afternoon for Miss Louise to be interviewed by us. Our contact with Miss Louise is through the WildTech project in DC. Miss Louise, would you like to introduce yourself to everybody?
My name is Louise Allimore, and I live in Washington, D.C., and I've been diagnosed with Parkinson's disease since December of 2019.
Thank you, Miss Louise. And how are you feeling today?
A little shaky.
Yeah, yeah. I'm sorry if it's probably made you a little anxious being recorded, but we are really, really grateful for all the people who offer themselves to be recorded and for us to share your story with our people, and also I know with the Wild Tech group as well. So you said you were diagnosed in 2019?
Yes, December.
Okay, and how long before you were diagnosed do you think you might have had symptoms of Parkinson's?
Well, I know now, but I used to have bad dreams. I would get up and run around in the room and don't know it.
Yeah.
I run into my bedpost a couple of times, and I dreamt that I was in a forest and someone was chasing after me, and I didn't know. I ended up breaking my nightstand. The drawer was halfway out, and I just run into it. And they were laughing at me, my family. They thought it was kind of funny. They said, "What are you doing sleepwalking?" Then I started having constipation and joint pain, and my spine shifted. I never had scoliosis all my life, and it seemed like my spine now I'm shifted. And it was just one thing after another. So I was.
When was this approximately? When, I mean, you say you had the active dreams. Was that the first symptom looking back now?
Yes, looking back, it was the first thing. And then I was
When was that? Can you remember?
Maybe a couple months or so before.
Okay.
And then I was driving down the highway and my left arm started shaking.
Okay.
And I thought I was just nervous because of the traffic.
Mm-hmm.
But when I went in, that's what they told me.
So
and I thought.
Sorry, I was going to say, did you go to your primary care person at that time?
Yes, yeah. I went to the primary care, and then he told me to go to the neurologist.
Okay.
And so that's it.
Okay. And do you see somebody who is called a neurologist or somebody who is called a movement disorder specialist at the moment?
I saw the neurologist, and I started going to him, and I started on L-Dopa.
Uh-huh.
But it did not help. It made me itch. I had redness on my ankles and my back, and puffiness on the ankle, and it just made me more anxious.
Okay.
So we changed to amantadine.
Yeah.
And amantadine didn't do any better. So
I was thinking, yes, well, that mostly often works. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. So you had to change again.
I went to sililagene.
Okay.
And sililagene didn't help. And so now I'm on Maripex.
Okay. And is that helping?
Pardon?
Is that helping a little?
Yes, I've been on that one for since last year.
Okay.
And so that one seemed to help, but sometimes I feel like I still have a lot of shaking. Mm-hmm. And my children was wondering, can you find something that don't make you shake? I said, look, I don't know yet. But then that neurologist retired.
Uh-huh.
And so I started with a lady now. Yep. That was Dr. Gore.
And have they offered any other suggestions for you?
No.
Okay. All right. So obviously, tremor has become a serious issue for you, it sounds.
Yes.
Okay. And what keeps you motivated on days when the tremor is really bad?
I just have to, I always say that's all the F's: my faith, my family, my friends. Mm-hmm. And when I think about some people can't get out of bed and I can, and there are difficult days when if you want to get dressed, it's a problem because you put in with one hand and the other hand knocked it out. It's like for putting your earring, which is something simple. You do that in the past with no problem. Mm-hmm. But now you put it in, and then by the time you're ready to finish up, you get knocked out of place and you feel so frustrated. But then I think about the people who can't move, and they have to have somebody get them out of bed. And it's like your everyday work, your everyday activity is being hampered with all this tremors, and I only break one plate since.
You've done well.
Because I picked it up with the wrong hand, the shaky hand.
Yeah.
I just slipped my mind and it went. This was a bowl, and my daughter would never let me forget about it. But since then, I've been doing pretty good. I remember not to.
And you say it's your left hand that is most affected by the tremor.
My left.
Yeah. Okay. And you say you're now seeing a new neurologist. When you go to visit the neurologist, do you go with one of your family members?
No, I go alone.
Okay. I'm just gonna make a suggestion to you that you could ask your neurologist, and if you wanted to take a family member next time you go, to investigate whether your Parkinson's is tremor dominant, because there is obviously procedures which they can do, which can really help tremor. And there are two of them nowadays. There's deep brain stimulation, which obviously is invasive, and which they put electrodes right down into your brain. But the other one is using focused ultrasound. Okay. It's the deep brain stimulation kind of lasts for many, many years, whereas the focused ultrasound is not quite so good because it's not adjustable, whereas the deep brain stimulation is. But the focused ultrasound can bring, it's not invasive, and it can bring some really good results in terms of controlling tremor. So you might want to think about, advocating for yourself to find out if that tremor dominance is in fact something which, you could get some control over by one of these newer treatments.
Yeah.
The focused ultrasound is really, kind of only a couple of years old, whereas the deep brain stimulation has been available for over 10 years, I think. Okay. So you said about, so you said you've only broken one bowl or plate, which is
one bowl.
Very, very good. Very, very good. I think if you give a little survey to many people who have Parkinson's with a lot of tremor, they would say that they'd broken a lot more than that. Do you find that using knives, forks, spoons, and cups and things is also tricky?
Well, the knives and forks are okay. But the plate, I have to make sure I pick it up with the right arm.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the right arm have slight tremors sometimes if I get anxious.
Yeah.
And so I'm praying that it doesn't get to be like the left.
Absolutely.
Or else I'll flip maybe.
No, come on. You're sound to be a most positive person, and that is.
Yes, I am. I'm just teasing.
And that's the most important thing I think that you can do. But the second most important thing probably is to really make sure you are exercising as much as possible. So can I ask what kind of exercise you do?
Well, we have a senior center that I used to go to. And there's two instructors, like on Tuesdays. I think Tuesdays you have 10 a.m. and 3 p.m. And Thursdays you have 11 a.m. and 3 p.m. And there are others with the YMCA. And also I have a ball in my room, and I do the ones on the bed. Because if I do it on the floor, I won't be able to get back up.
I understand that completely. That doesn't necessarily mean it's Parkinson's. That just means we're all getting a little bit older.
Yes, and I do the ones with the leg because I have a lot of joint pain. And it makes it difficult to get in and out of bed. Yeah. And if you have to turn at night, it's a little tricky. Yeah. Sometimes you have to get out completely and get back in another way. Yes, yeah. So
my husband finds that as well. My husband also has Parkinson's, and he says that turning in bed is becoming really quite difficult.
I'm glad I have a wooden bed with the pins. I grab them and they help me to, I hold on. But sometimes it doesn't necessarily work because when you move the other part of your body, you have an issue with that. Yeah. So
And have you moved that nightstand that you crashed into? If you moved that out of the way now?
No, my
That's
brother.
so dangerous.
Well, I keep the drawer out halfway so I could stick my remote and stuff in there. So
Okay.
my brother came and repaired it.
Uh-huh.
And I keep the drawer more closed now, not open like I used to.
Yeah.
I had a bad hit on the chest on one breast at one time because I run into the bottom pole of the bed, and it's a big round knob.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, and it was pain for a while. Yeah.
Oh dear. I mean, you know, active dreams is a very common symptom. And again, there are sleep disorder specialists who you can be referred to who say they can help. I'm not going to offer whether they actually can or not, but I know a lot of people with Parkinson's have this sleep disturbance because it stopped the disease turns off the restraint that we normally have when we're about moving, and you know you're acting out your dreams instead of being asleep and just thinking you're there. You actually try and be there in the forest.
Yeah. Yeah, but now I realize I don't have those dreams anymore.
Oh really?
No.
Okay.
Maybe if I did, I would be able to jump up out the bed.
Well, you'd get some exercise then.
Yes, but I don't have them anymore. They cease.
Okay.
So I sleep pretty good, yes.
Oh, that's good news. And you're sleeping well?
Yes.
Excellent. That's really good. And again, you know, some people, you know, do complain that they can't stay asleep. So I'm really glad to hear that, because it makes you feel so miserable if you can't get good sleep, doesn't it? So
yeah, I see.
glad to hear that. Okay, well, yeah, we would be delighted, obviously, Ms. Louise, if you would join us in our exercise classes. I mean, you know, that they are free for you to participate in. So we would be absolutely thrilled if you wanted to do more exercise with us. But, you know, it is really important that you carry on getting as much exercise as you possibly can, while staying safe, obviously, you know, because we don't want you to start doing too much and falling over or having any other issues. Okay. So, what advice would you give to other people, especially perhaps women, and they're not quite so well represented, I don't think, in the Parkinson's community, who are newly diagnosed with Parkinson's?
Don't give up, with determination and support. Any support, any kind of support, as long as it's on the positive side.
Absolutely.
You can survive, you know, and you learn as you go along. So every day you learn new ways of coping. And so it's good to just be on the positive side. And every day you be grateful for one thing, that you didn't have a problem, for that day you didn't fall. I mean, you know, it's on the positive note. You can persevere. And don't be discouraged, because that's a lifetime you're thinking about what is going to happen in the future. So you always expect that tomorrow is going to be better.
Well, that's the right way to think about it. Absolutely, it is. And it sounds like you also have a support network from your family, Ms. Louise?
Yeah, I have 2 brothers, 2 sisters. The 2 brothers come and visit. They sometimes on the weekend, they sit with me until like 8:30 or so. And because I have a friend who pick me up for church every Sunday, you know, and I have to be ready by 8:30. So I know I have to wake up extra early.
Yeah.
And do, if I want to do all the things, and it's very difficult to even put your foot in a pair of pants. So, and stocking, it's amazing. But when you think about you're going to see other friends in church, you make sure that you start early, you know, and she's very patient. So I'm always ready before she gets here.
That's an amazing achievement, and that is, again, there are some. I haven't ever actually had use of them, but I know that there are some things you can get which you can peg onto stockings
Under the stocking
to help you pull them up. If that's so, that's worth investigating for you.
Yes, I'll check that out.
Well, I'll check it out and make sure I send it to you via Alex, okay, so that we can help you out with that. Okay. Now, again, you are, I mean, one of the most positive and the most resilient and strongest people I have ever spoken to about Parkinson's. And I know when we've met on our group sessions that I've been involved in, I've always been so totally impressed with you. So what legacy are you hoping to leave to future generations? And this obviously interview, it will be there for time immemorial, not quite, but for a long time in the future. And so, what inspirational messages of resilience and strength do you have for those future?
Always be positive, take care of yourself. And there are a lot of new researches now going on, and things are changing. Some things that I don't even know about, but I know there are researches. And so be on the positive side, and it's not the end of the world, I always say. And I said, I would not wish this on my worst enemy. And if I had to pick something, I wouldn't pick this, but I didn't. So you never know what's on the other side. While you're growing and learning, you be positive about it and expect to see changes, not worsened. I never think about, well, tomorrow I might not be able to walk. I always think that tomorrow I'll be able to go outside and run, even if it's a walk run. And it was amazing. Yesterday, my neighbor had pulled out and left our garage open. And when I was younger, when he does that, I usually run in the garage, push the button, and run back out.
Okay.
Because they leave for a long time and go to eat. So yesterday, I thought about it, I laughed, I chuckled. I came from church and the garage was open and he was in the driveway, but I thought he was going to close it. So I called him on the phone and I said, your garage is open, but now I'm moving like a turtle for a while. I won't be able to go and push the button. But my son showed up and I said, you're young, you're 60. And he said, I'll do it. So he went over there, pushed the button and ran out. And I started laughing. I said, I still have hope that maybe tomorrow I'll be able to run.
So you've got a son who's 60?
Yes.
I don't believe it.
Yeah.
You're looking far too young and fit to have a son age 60.
I had a birthday on the 3rd. And I was 79.
Oh my goodness, you honestly are fantastic for that age. Beautiful. There you are, all sat there looking all prim and proper, beautiful. Oh my goodness, 70.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people aged much less than that, who do not look as good as you. So I think you are absolutely an inspiration to everybody.
Thank you.
So grateful that you were able to talk to us today.
Thank you so much.
Very, very good. Alex, do you have anything to add?
Well, thank you so much for the interview, Jan. We really appreciate it. And Louise, you are such a superstar and an outlier. And I definitely agree with everything Jan had said. You actually have attended our sessions throughout your whole time here at WildTech, which has been about 3 years now. You've attended more than 500 of our various types of sessions. So I hope the 500 hours plus of knowledge and training has really helped you in your daily life. And of course, without the Parkinson Foundation, we wouldn't be speaking today. So I know your legacy will be positive and will be showcased for generations on. And
yeah,
I know your family is very proud of you. So
thank you so much, Alex.
And do you have anything to add, Ms. Louise?
I said, well, be kind to one another and show love to one another. You never know where you'll end up being and what is going to be your portion for your lifetime. And so always be grateful when you see somebody not moving. Don't you ever say bad things, because you never know what you will end up with in life. And it's just be positive and be kind and love people.
That's such a lovely message. Thank you. And also, we never know what other people are going through.
Never.
So always support them as best we possibly can. And that, I think, is definitely the motto of PFNCA.
Yes.
To support everybody.
Yes.
Thank you so much, both of you, for giving us this opportunity. We are very, very grateful.
Thank you so much, Anne, for having me.
You're
Appreciate it.
very, very welcome. Hello, Adrian. My name is Jan Hatherall. I'm the Director of Operations for the Parkinson Foundation of the National Capital Area. Thank you so much for agreeing to be interviewed about your Parkinson's journey. This is a second of two conversations that I've had with people who have Parkinson's. So let's start off with introduce yourself and explain to me, please, how you're feeling today.
Well, my name is Adrian Hatherall. I'm feeling okay today.
You're feeling okay. It's a good day today. That's great news. Okay, so how long ago were you diagnosed with Parkinson's disease?
7 years.
Okay, and was that kind of when you first felt you had symptoms, or did you experience symptoms before you were diagnosed?
Yeah, there were symptoms before, which I found out after it was obviously early Parkinson's.
Okay, so about how many years ago do you think you might have been experiencing symptoms?
At 15.
Oh my goodness. Okay. All right. So was there a reason that you had such a delay in realizing that these symptoms might have been Parkinson's?
Well, I had a kidney problem at the time, and we put it down to that, really.
I see. Okay.
It was just talking to a friend,
Yeah.
and his symptoms made me think, well, I got a few of those little ones,
Right.
Mm.
Okay. And then you went and saw somebody and got diagnosed. Which sort of person did you see? Did you see a movement disorder specialist or a neurologist?
Well, first of all, that was in England, so he was a specialist, I guess.
Okay. And when you came to the United States?
I just went to the hospital, saw a specialist again.
Okay. All right. And that was just a neurologist?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. And then what's been going on over the last few years? Explain to us what's happened in the last 12 months or so.
Well, I've been seeing somebody for movement disorder specialist, and we're planning on doing the DBS.
DBS, explain what that is to people who don't understand.
Deep brain surgery.
Okay.
Which controls the brain to stop the shaking and moving.
Okay. And what kind of have you normally see a neurologist how often?
Once a year, probably.
About once a year. But then in this last year, your journey with deep brain stimulation, possibility of surgery, how often have you seen people?
Not all the time. Tests and that.
Yeah, you've had to have lots of tests. Okay.
From the National Institute of Health.
Okay, marvelous. Okay, and you've come through that with flying colours, and it looks like you're heading that way. When are you due to have your surgery?
Later on in April.
Later on in April. Okay. Well, good luck with that. I hope it goes well. And in terms of your medication, which are trying to control your symptoms at the moment, what medication have you been taking?
Obviously, levodopa, carbidopa, and Vitari for in the evening, slow release.
Okay, before you go to bed.
Yeah.
You've been able to tolerate those the carbidopa, levodopa, which has been a good thing.
Yeah, better than some people. Yeah.
Better than some people, which is a good thing.
Mm.
Okay. So the medication you're on obviously helps, but what aspects of Parkinson's would you say most affect your day-to-day life?
Tremor, mainly with eating and using cutlery.
Okay. Anything else?
It just gets in the way, makes you stressed a bit.
Okay, so there's sort of an anxiety and stress aspect of things, and
yeah.
Things can worry you because of your
tense, yeah.
Particularly. Okay, I get that. What keeps you motivated, Adrian, and keeps you trying to be positive in your Parkinson's journey?
My wife is a big help, and the family help.
You
know what I mean?
Okay, and obviously you're supported by them in your Parkinson's journey. Are you supported by anything else particularly?
Yeah, PFC and CA. With
PFC
offer.
Okay, and that's really good. Thank you so much. Okay, and anything else again that Dr. Shameen has talked to you about and has helped you with over this last year while you've been going through this rigorous assessment at the NIH?
Oh, good, gives me hope.
Okay, and what else has he given you on your wrist?
Oh, we done that one. So I Strive PD, which I
Okay,
use on my Apple Watch. That
okay,
helps me monitor day-to-day routines, pills, exercise, that.
okay. And you find that motivates you?
Yeah, I can't get away with anything.
Excellent. I know. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I think so can you explain a bit more about what Strive PD is and to people who've never heard of it?
You use it on an Apple Watch on your wrist,
Mm-hmm.
and it gives you circles to complete
Okay.
exercise,
Yep.
and linked up with your phone, reminds you what time to take your pills. So you log your pills down, and if you forget, you think, did I take it? And you go and have a look.
Yeah, gives you reminders.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. And also, I mean, I know that it gives you a chance to record each day what, you know, as an overall, what day
Yeah.
you've had. Yeah, I know. And I think that's really helpful. It is freely available to everybody on the App Store. I don't know if it's on Google Store, but it's certainly on the Apple Store. Okay, and it's free. So people can, if they have an Apple Watch or they want to get one, they can download Strive PD and get themselves logged onto it. I mean, Dr. Shameen put Adrian onto it as a part of a project. So his recorded data is actually being looked at by the team over there who have been developing Strive PD. But, you know, it's very, very much available to anyone who has Parkinson's if they feel that they need to be motivated to keep their daily exercise routine and their drug taking to time, because it, you know, once you've set it up, it is there for you for the whole of the thing. So I mean, I haven't got any interest in it. We haven't got any interest in it at the Parkinson Foundation of the National Capital Area, but it is something which is there to help and motivate people who have Parkinson's. And I mean, as I know that Adrian is not somebody that would say they were totally enamored by computers and watches and those kinds of things, but it certainly has been something which has really helped his motivation. So obviously this journey with Parkinson's is difficult. And what advice would you give to people when they first get their diagnosis of Parkinson's?
Well, see, get medical support and, you know, learn more about it and be positive.
Excellent. I agree with those ideas. And if you think about future generations, you know, you obviously have got a tremendous amount of resilience and strength as you've gone through your Parkinson's journey, and you've really developed those qualities. How would you say you want that legacy to go forward for people of the future?
Well, keeping fit, exercise.
Mm-hmm.
And then you don't feel like it some days, but you have to do it. This is proven to help.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you so much. Is there anything else you want to add, Adrian?
I don't think so. Just be positive.
Okay. Thank you so much for agreeing to be interviewed for the Parkinson Foundation. And
okay.
It's very kind of you. Thank you so much. Okay, that's the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed listening to those stories of people with Parkinson's. I can see that there's been some messages in the chat. I don't know if there's anything yet. Kudos to Louise. She did an amazing job. She certainly did. Is it hereditary? Can I answer these questions now, Alex? Is that okay?
Oh, yes. Well, first, real quick, wow, that was such an amazing experience. Thank you so much, Jan, for creating that with us. It was such a wonderful collaboration. And before we answer any questions, let's all say thank you so much to Louise and Mr. Adrian for doing that interview.
Thank you
so
Louise and
Thank
Adrian.
you.
Okay.
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you.
Louise,
Thank you.
Thank you.
Some important stuff.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Okay, Jan and Louise, you can unmute yourself. And yes, Jan, thank you so much for checking out the chat. There are so many uplifting messages. Thank you,
Yeah,
Dolores. Thank you, Miss Bertha. Thank you, Miss Wilmotine.
Miss
Miss
Dolores.
Yes, yes. I love all the comments. You guys show a
Yeah.
lot of support for Louise. So thank you so much.
There's
Um,
a question there,
Mhm.
Alex, about is Parkinson's hereditary? Okay, and I just thought I'd like to address that. It's an interesting question because there is some evidence, particularly with some families, particularly those that have early onset Parkinson's, that there might be a very strong correlation and to genetic disorder, basically from the family. There's also, I mean, like in Adrian's situation, I don't know about Ms. Louise's, whether she had family members that in the past that had Parkinson's, but my husband's grandfather did also have Parkinson's. So there is some sort of slight linkage with some people like that who have had people in their families that have had Parkinson's. So it is almost entirely a disease of older age, except that there is this early onset. And I say we all know Michael J. Fox, and the fact that he was diagnosed really early, and he's had Parkinson's now, I think, for almost 40 years. So a lot of people who have early onset Parkinson's have a kind of slower development of Parkinson's. And that, so they have proved that there can be hereditary in families, and lots of identification of trying to get which genes that we have that might be ones that are triggering Parkinson's symptoms. So that they are always asked to join the research projects about Parkinson's if they are gene related. At the NIH, even though Adrian is going to have DBS there, they have also taken all kinds of samples and things from him in order to use his genome as evidence as to whether there is any kind of markers there that might be showing. And it certainly mostly tends to be onset quite a lot later on in life, and that's why you tend to meet people who are older who have Parkinson's. But there obviously is the exception that you have a few, who have early onset. We have one member who comes to masses of our exercise and speaking classes, particularly, who has had Parkinson's for about 15 years and is only about 50 now, 55, something like that. And obviously that is, it's very sad because it does really impact your life and your ability to have work that you can reliably do, because people, if they look at you and you're shaking and you're finding it hard to speak clearly, they think you don't know what you're doing, and that your brain is gone, which is not necessarily true at all. But there are some people, again, with Parkinson's, because they're older, they also have memory issues, but the younger onset people don't tend to have those problems. Okay, are there any more questions in the chat, Alex, for me? I haven't looked through them, but there's some tremendous tremendous things there. Oh, you sent the link of who we are. That's great. Thank you so much for doing that. And then thank you for all these wonderful positive comments.
I
That's
know they're so amazing.
absolutely amazing. My goodness, it's so good.
Yeah.
It's just great. Okay.
Mhm.
And then
Yeah,
there was a question there I can see. Okay, there's two actually questions that I could also go on to answer. So what are the signs you might be developing it? Okay, that one of the very earliest signs that a lot of people have is the active dreams that Miss Louise spoke about. And another one that is very, very common, and it's the one you can look back on and say, oh, really, that was the big signal, is that you lose your sense of smell. And you might not lose it completely, but you might kind of smell odd things. So you might kind of think there's a smell when there isn't a smell. So, but the idea of the sense of smell going wrong is certainly a very, I mean, it could be a marker of something completely different, but it is absolutely an early marker of Parkinson's as well. So if you have relatives who suddenly find that their smell's gone a bit crocky. There are tests that can be done on smell to see whether it is actually that your smell is going wrong, and it could be an early marker of Parkinson's. So it's worth investigating. And it's an odd one because most people don't think about smell much at all. And if you can't smell, you don't kind of go around saying, oh, I've got this problem with my smell, but it could be something serious. So it's worth getting checked out. Okay, and as for exercises for victims of Parkinson's, let's call them victims, that's terrible. That's what the question says. People who are afflicted with Parkinson's, the number one thing that they have to do, in my opinion, is to exercise their core muscles, okay? Because falling is one of the two top causes that lead to death with Parkinson's. So you don't die of Parkinson's, you die with Parkinson's. But obviously it can exacerbate the problems of falling. Now, all people who are getting older, you, me, and all of us should be doing some work on our balance and our core muscles. And that is the number one thing you can do. The second thing that you really need to do if you have Parkinson's is, and this is what our neurologist in England said to Adrian the very first day that he was diagnosed. He said, you need to get breathless every day. Because if you are breathless, your whole exercise system in your body, your heart, everything is all working to the very best of ability. And the dopamine producing cells in your brain are stimulated by that exercise. So everyone has got loads of dopamine producing cells in their brain. People with Parkinson's, a lot of them have died off, and they continue to die off as you live with Parkinson's. But the more you can get the ones you've still got to work, the better that you will be. So getting breathless, doing something that is safe, but physically makes you a bit breathless is really good. So number one thing, go for a walk outside if possible, enjoying the fresh air, the outdoor environment, because that makes you feel better as well. Anything that makes you feel better also produces dopamine in the brain. So those are the most important things. So exercises is you can get them online easily. Any kind of increasing your balance exercises. There's some great exercises you can get on YouTube for that. And obviously we have free ones also on our website so that you can find them there. We also have obviously the live exercise program that you can join. But basically exercises every day to improve your balance is a really important thing. Okay.
Yeah, thank you so much, Jan, for answering those. I really appreciate it. And if you guys have, again, any questions for Jan and or Louise, if you'd like to ask, please raise your hand in Zoom. This is the time to do so, or any comments, any reactions, how the session made you feel, any comments for a guest or Miss Louise, please raise your hand in Zoom. We'd love to hear from folks before we end for today. But please continue to share any messages in the chat. They're so lovely, and thank you all so much for your support. Okay. So
I have a few hands up.
yeah, I love it. Thank you so much for sharing, you guys. So first up, we got Anne. Thank you so much. You have a question for Jan and or Louise today?
I really have a statement for Louise. Louise, I have never been so proud of anybody in my life. I've always admired you, and you have given me a lot to be able to help my cousin's husband. Um, it's a dynamic duo there. They and I too am a 79-year-old cute woman. So we're gonna keep on looking good, honey.
Thank you, Anne.
And Jan, I thank you so much too. Because of you, I have been able to help them, to direct them to places, and to go to Oshner and see if they can't find somebody that will help them. And in fact, they're making a trip to the Mayo Clinic.
Brilliant news.
Wonderful.
That's great.
Yeah, so because of you,
Thank you. Oh, that's really good. I'm so glad. Just one person I'm making a difference for makes it all worthwhile.
Well,
Thank you.
I want to. You have helped me so much because my cousin is not well. His wife is not well either, and this has been a traumatic experience. And I can't imagine because I know how sciatica has set my brain off to another dimension. So I can understand how this would really somebody that actually likes gardening and stuff that I can
Mhm.
tell Louise has been doing and going to church and doing stuff. I can understand being not
Limit.
downgraded, but just confused and what the heck is going on. So I really love you know I love you more today, Louise,
Thank you.
than I ever could. And you know you have my mother's name, so I've always admired you. So I really wanted to say that to you. I really appreciate you putting your heart out there and your soul and telling us the experiences that you had.
Thank you so much.
And God bless you, darling. And may he always keep you in his hands.
Yes, thank you so
And
much.
God bless you too, Jan.
Thank you.
Thank
It's
you so
motivating
much.
to keep me going.
Yes, thank you, Anne, for sharing so much. All righty now, we got some more hands. Again, any questions or comments or reactions for Louise and or Jan, please raise your hand. We love to hear from you. We got Miss Doris next. Thank you so much for participating.
Good afternoon, Louise and Miss Jan. And you look so beautiful today, Miss Louise.
Thank you.
And you're a very positive person. You're strong. But my question is, okay, I had brain surgery a couple of years ago. Now, being that I had that surgery, is it possible that I might develop Parkinson's disease?
Because you've had brain surgery.
Uh-huh.
No, I don't think so.
No.
There's no correlation there with that.
Mm-mm.
You say that, you know, the deep brain surgery that is for Parkinson's is obviously targeting a specific area, but there's you know there's no reason why your brain surgery should cause
Right.
Parkinson's. It's a very very small area of the brain called the substantia nigra that is actually where the seat is. It's like the it's smaller than a Brussels sprout. It's really quite tiny, a bit bigger than a pea, about smaller than a Brussels sprout. The size of this substantia nigra, where our dopamine producing cells are, and that is the tiniest little bit of the brain, but it's the bit of the brain that goes wrong in Parkinson's because the dopamine producing cells that live there they start to die off, and so you are producing so much dopamine. So your body can compensate for that up to a certain point, and then suddenly you realize that you've got symptoms and you get them checked out. A lot of people, I talked about other symptoms, but the obvious symptom that most people think about with Parkinson's is this tremor. But it might not be the first symptom that people have when they look back, as I say, you know, but tremor is certainly a thing to look out for. And if you do notice it, then obviously do go and get that checked out. But otherwise, I don't think there's any correlation at all between brain surgery and Parkinson.
No.
Okay?
Okay. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Thank you so much, Miss Doris, for sharing. I love it. Thank you so much. We got some more hands. Thank you so much, all, for sharing. It helps yourselves and others out so much, so it's much appreciated. We got Miss Wilmotine next. You have a question or comment or anything you'd like to share with our two wonderful persons here?
Hi, everyone. I didn't think I was going to get in, but I am so pleased to have listened and learned about Parkinson's disease. I know someone that does have it, and I've learned so much today. And I want to give Miss Louise all the kudos, as we say,
Absolutely.
for going through.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought I was going through some things because I'm on a walker and I'm riding up and down the steps and don't want to go outside, don't want to take car part. I thought I was regressing back into a behavior but a little bit of offness of knock you back, and I love the encouragement. You said to keep moving on, keep the encouragement, to move on and stop. Don't stop just because you have one thing wrong with you at the age that you are. Don't move back. Let's move forward. And by being on Wild Text, I have to say, I'm so thankful for the group that I've learned, and I've learned so much being a part of the Wild Tech family. I call you all my family each and every time I get on, because sometimes I regress back and feel a little depressed and all, but when I get on this program and get on Wild Tech, it boosts me up. It gives me knowledge. It gives me understanding. It makes me wiser. It makes me want to keep on going on. So, Louise, thank you for sharing.
You're welcome.
Thank you so much, Miss Wilmatine. We really appreciate it. Just keep going. Just Louis said, just keep going. You got this, okay? We got Miss Denise next. Thank you so much. You have a question or comment or anything else for our wonderful questions today?
Yeah, good evening, afternoon. Yes, Louise, that was so wonderful. You shared your testimony with us.
Yeah.
And, my grandmother had Parkinson's also. But I want to tell you also, remember you're blessed by the blessed. So don't have worry. Don't worry about nothing. He got you.
Yes, it does.
But I wanted to share with you a minute about my grandmother. She had Parkinson's, and I forgot. I think she was in her late 60s or about 70. But she felt, well, we were sitting on our front porch one day, and the porch that we have down under there is a basement, and she fell over in the basement, but she didn't bust her head or anything. But because she would drink, alcohol. And so she fell, but they took tests and everything, So I say about a couple of years later, she started becoming where when she walked or, anything, she would shake a little bit. But I was thinking because she started having seizures. I said, well, maybe it's because of the seizures. Me and my mom was thinking, which is her daughter. So anyway, make a long story short, so she started, like you say, trembling and shaking more. And they went and took a, looked in the head and everything. They found out, oh, she had a slight Parkinson's. And so now grandma's so hard headed. She wasn't drinking no more, but she hard headed. She never, sit still, let us do things. She always wanted to do it herself. So if you come to the door, knock on the door, and then during this time, my mother had a massive stroke. She was in another room. Me and my sister had to take care of both of them. So, but my stepfather was there. So grandma would always come to the door and open the door for me and my sister. And we always say, Grandma, don't don't go back. Because, when you open the door, you got to go back to let us in. We say, we got it, just stand there. But she'll open it anyway, and then she fall, hit her head. Then she'd do it all the time. So one day she hit her head in the hallway and put a big gash in the wall. But some reason, I don't know, she was just, and what you say, the constipation, she had the constipation part. And me and my sister, we said, we got to give her something for this. We gave her a laxative, the little, chocolate ones. Oh man, why we give her that? She boo-boo everywhere. I mean, boo-boo was all in her hair. It was all in the room, everywhere. Me and my sister was so mad. So she goes into my mom room next to her. And my mom couldn't talk from the stroke. And she kept, when we went up there, she's shaking her head. We're like, what's wrong? Mama had boo-boo all on her rail of her bed. And cause she went in there trying to help her daughter, my mom. And she kept saying, Mama, Mama, go. So we just got a hold of her and gave her a shower and cleaned up the house stuff with the boo-boo. But anyway, this what I was trying to say, that I was wondering, did that come from when she fell and hit her head, the Parkinson's?
No,
or
probably it was just happening already. One of the reasons that she fell at that point was because,
it was already
it's already happening. These
uh-huh.
dopamine producing cells were already reducing, and say falls are the number one thing that it contributes to problems with people with Parkinson's. We all have issues with falling, as I said, when we're getting older, but
right.
it's much more, the problem
Uh,
with people who have Parkinson's, because one of the things that Parkinson's does is it stops you from understanding where your body is. When I move my hands, I know where I'm moving my hands, even if I closed my eyes. But
Right.
with Parkinson's, doesn't really understand where their body is, particularly obviously when they're walking or trying to move, that it's called proprioception, this understanding we have of where our body is in space.
Yeah.
And that is a problem for a lot of people with Parkinson's, which is why they tend to fall over.
Yeah, because she
You
could walk
make
forward,
sure
but
that you
she
work on your core muscles, which are the ones
yeah,
that hold your balance and help you to stand up straight.
right. Because when she can walk forward, but when she go back,
Yeah,
step back,
yeah.
that's when she falls.
This
And
is
then
the way
another
your
thing,
feet work.
when you was speaking on that chip that they could put in you now, I know about me and my granddaughter reading on that. Because Musk, the guy, he got a chip he put into this guy.
Yeah,
He
this
was a
is not a
vegetarian.
This is not a chip, Denise. And I understand that Musk has got a Neuralink chip, okay, but
Yeah,
it's not a chip that goes in for controlling the tremor. This is two little electrodes, and they're much, much smaller than my finger. And they
yeah,
go in either side here, all right,
Mm-hmm.
into the brain, and they will then set it up after the surgery is healed, after about a month after the surgery, and then they tune the little electrodes to have a little jiggle, okay, which will control the tremor in the body. And then after they've set it up, you have your own control box, a bit like a phone, where if you feel that you're tremoring particularly much in one day, you can kind of turn up the stimulation, or if you have it, you can try turning it down a little bit, so you can adjust it for how much tremor you have. So it is only really the tremor symptoms of Parkinson's that it will help, but it does help it. And most people that we know at the PFNCA who've had deep brain stimulation because they have had tremor dominant Parkinson's, then they have really, really benefited from it. One of them indeed says, I'm no longer intimidated by the idea of having Parkinson's because now my tremor is under control. And so it's not a chip, it's two little electrodes which have a little current put down through them to actually stimulate directly part of the brain cells that will help your tremors go away.
Well, which one was that Musk put into the guy that
Yeah,
he was on the inauguration? He was a vegetarian, vegetable.
yeah, so his is called Neuralink, which is it's attached to lots of other different parts of the brain to control to enable this person he wasn't, although he looked like a vegetable, as it were, and vegetative state, they call it, he actually had brain activity, but he couldn't express it. And so they were trying to support him. I think with the first person that's had it, they've had a problem since then and they've had to turn it off.
Yeah.
A bit of an issue, but I mean, they're working on it all the time because there are lots of people with lots of different issues in their brain, and all we can do all the time to try and support and help them, the best thing that can happen.
That's right. That's right. Yeah. Well, thank you for letting me share that.
Thank you.
And keep up the good job and the good work. It's so important to people,
Good.
Yeah. It would have been. Thank you, Alex. Let me share.
Thank you, Denise, so much. Have a wonderful rest of your day. We got two more hands. Again, just making sure we get to all the hands. I really appreciate it so much, you all. We got Geraldine next. Hope you're well. Thank you so much for your patience.
I'm well, Jan. Thank you. Thank you for bringing Adrian on. And Louise said her faith, family, and friends keep her going. But I want to add something to you, Louise. It's your sense of humor. Louise is funny. I don't think she realizes that she says funny things. She doesn't try. It just comes out like that. And she's And she's positive. So I want to add that to her friends, family, and faith, because I think those the sense of humor she has, it's a dry sense of humor, and her positiveness. I think that those two help her to do as well as she's doing. And thank you for Adrian too.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Thank you so much, Geraldine. Yes, you got to add fun to that.
Yeah, fun. Yes, yes, yes.
Absolutely. No, I totally agree.
Thank you so much, Geraldine, for your kind words.
Thank you so much.
And if there aren't any other hands, again, please raise your hand. Any quick comments, chats, questions, please raise your hand in Zoom. We got Yvonne. Thank you so much for your participation in the chat.
Oh, very quickly, I know we're running behind. But Jan, I appreciate your having such a close-up, intimate conversation about this topic. As people of color, we're very often not aware of clinical trials. And I wanted to ask you to address the issue of clinical trials and also what I've been reading about keto diet, or I'm not aware of what that is, but it's something related to dopamine. And if you could address very briefly recommended diets for folks who are concerned about Parkinson's or trying to avoid becoming a person living with Parkinson's. So thank you ever so much.
Okay, I took the first one first. Thank you very much for bringing that up. I mean, obviously the work that Adrian has been involved with genetically at the NIH has led to him being able to have DBS there. Both of those are two different sets of clinical trials. So he found out about those through going to his neurologist and saying, look, this, the medication isn't working. A bit like Louise, I mean, Miss Louise, she had to go through several sets of medication before she found anything that helps. But what tends to happen with people with Parkinson's is as their dopamine producing cells get lower and lower, they're having to take medication that overstimulates them when they take it and then decays away quicker after they've taken it. So you can end up losing the battle, if you like, with tremor control. And that's when other things are certainly become available. But I mean, we went to that's why I talked about Miss Louise taking perhaps a family member with her when she goes, because it's really hard to advocate for yourself, I think, when you go to see your specialist. But if you take someone with you who's willing to, say, look, well, this isn't good enough. We really need the support. We really need the help. We need some other offer. Then, is there a clinical trial I could get involved with? There is actually a website. I'll let Alex have that details that he can share with you. But there is a website that shows where clinical trials are available. And there are an awful lot at the NIH to do with Parkinson's and trying to help people with Parkinson's. They say the latest research with people with Parkinson's is very much thinking that it might have been looking in the wrong place for the cause. I mean, we know what the direct cause is, if you like, that the dopamine producing cells are not working properly. But what caused that to go wrong, that mechanism in the brain, has been less well understood. And the latest thinking has absolutely been that it is to do with the gut microbes. Okay. And I'm not going to talk about diet. I'm going to refer you to our website. Can I share again, Alex? Am I still able to do that?
Yes, you can share your screen.
Okay, let me just share a minute and go here. Okay.
And while you pull that up, Jan, just again, today and when we do our sessions, it's a lot of general information. Any specific, like especially health information, please contact your primary care provider because everyone's a little different. So
absolutely, absolutely.
Definitely, just a reminder, okay?
Okay, so we have 2 pages on our website which are to do with diet. One is recommending the keto diet is one that recommends fats, which is not something that is recommended for Parkinson's. Okay, actually, they recommend most is the one which keeps the fiber intake the most, which is obviously the Mediterranean diet, as it's called. We have a whole page on that, which is also on one of our blog pages. But last year, we were very, very fortunate to have Dr. Evan Gray give a lecture on Parkinson's and nutrition. And I mean, I have to say that I thought I knew quite a lot about what my husband should be eating and so on. And I found out masses in this. And the one thing that he talked about that I really had no idea about was that you can help prevent Parkinson's from developing and also from the slowing the progress of it by cutting out dairy. And that means, you know, milk and cheese in particular. Yogurt is okay because it's fermented, and fermented dairy is all right, apparently. Anyway, I'm not the expert, but this lecture is available for free on our website and is absolutely essential, I think, for anybody who is concerned about what they might do to help prevent Parkinson's, or if they know somebody with Parkinson's, what they should be doing about their diet. He is absolutely brilliant, Dr. Gray, and totally, you know, with his finger on the pulse of the latest developments and research that has been done on nutrition and Parkinson's and the effect of what you eat on your symptoms. Okay, so that is available right on the front page. So here's our website. Okay, that's our main home page. Right underneath there, you've got the Parkinson's nutrition lecture by Dr. Gray, and underneath you've got the what you should be eating as a complete Parkinson's diet guide. Those two bits together really help people who have Parkinson's or who are worried about the fact they might be developing Parkinson's. Certainly Dr. Gray's lecture, but you know, increasing fiber as much as you can, because this issue of constipation is one that certainly you know, is common for people with Parkinson's. So keeping your fiber up, and Dr. Gray actually has a little recipe that he goes through of what you should do if you do have constipation as one of the symptoms of Parkinson's. In fact, anyone who's got constipation will benefit from his little recipe of what you should take daily to help move things along, as they say. Okay. All right, I will make sure I send the clinical trial site to you all, okay, so that to Dr. Alex, so that he can share it with you all. All right, I have to get it up. I haven't got my finger right on that, and I'd have to search for it a little bit, so it'll take a bit longer. But I hope that helps, Evan.
Yes, thank you, Yvonne, for your question. So I put that link in the chat for you all for that particular video, and also just make sure you check out the Parkinson Foundation website as well. So to end our session today, again, thank you all so much for your participation. First, Louise, what did you enjoy most about this experience with the interview? And then Jan, same question. So Louise first, what do you enjoy most? And maybe any last words?
And I'd be able to express myself and know that I'm not alone, because there are others that are going through even worse situations. And if I have a positive attitude, that makes a difference. Because sometimes I remember I was with someone, they were taking me to get my nails done, and I couldn't get in the car because it was an SUV and I got little short legs. And I tried to go in backwards the English way, and it didn't work. And I said, you know, just grab me by the butt and push me in. And she started laughing. Anyways, I grabbed the little thing up there, and she did grab me by the butt a little. And I got in. I said, when I get in, I'll try to turn around as much as my muscles will let me. But I didn't change my mind and said, I don't want to go to the shop to get my nails done.
No, and that's the important thing.
Yes. And
going, yep, absolutely.
They came to help me to get there. And I just jumped in. And when I came back home, I said, look, they said, but it's amazing. With all you're going through, you're funny about it. I said, well, what else can you do? If you get sad and cry, kick, or do like a 2-year-old, it's not going to help. You're going to feel worse. And so I said, you always have to be on a positive note, you know, because that's what motivates you to keep going for the next day or the next hour, or whatever the case may be. I know sometimes somebody call my name, I can't turn right away because my balance is off. I have to turn all the way around, before I can look behind. But you know what your limitations are, and you try to do what is the best thing for you so you won't fall or injure yourself. And that's what I do every day, 1 minute at a time. Not even a whole day, but a minute. So you have to have a positive attitude about what's going on. And that really helps to take you to the next step.
Thank you so much, Louise. And how about you, Jan? What did you most enjoy about this whole process? And any last words for the group today?
I mean, the thing that I'm taking away is meeting Miss Louise and really getting to know her and how generous she is with her time and her spirit, and how amazingly, positive and humorous she is. Despite the difficulties that she is experiencing, she never lets it get her down. And my husband is the same. He said, I mean, some days he doesn't feel like doing whatever he knows he ought to do, but he does it anyway. And that is the most important thing. Don't give up any day. Just keep going, and 1 foot forward is that they say, don't they? A journey of 1,000 steps is taken with the first step. Don't ever not take that first step. You can achieve anything if you just keep pushing forward and be positive and enjoy life as best you can every single day. Okay.
Thank you so much.
So much for letting me come and do this. And Miss Louise, so generous giving your time up to do this. Really grateful.
Thank you so much.
So much.
I had a lot of fun. I think it was just great. I had to babysit on Friday for my great grandson. For the first time in all these years, I babysit. And he was telling me, you're the bad guy and I'm the good guy, but you cannot sit. You have to get up and let's go. And he said, why are you so slow? Are you old?
Out of the mouths of babes, I know.
I started laughing. I said, let's go, come on, let's go. And you should see me trying to run but walk at the same time. And I had my own toy in my hand and he has his own toy. And so that really was funny. I thought to myself, will I be able to do this? I haven't done it for many years. But that night I slept better than ever because I was tired.
Exhausted, I should think. My goodness.
I was exhausted. I've been to the basement 3 times in one day, which I'd never done before, because there were toys down there. So I had to go down. He said, let's go. We got to go to the basement. Take your stick with you. I said, I don't need a stick. But it was really funny on Friday. But I did enjoy that,
And you did it, which is great. Absolutely wonderful.
That was so much fun.
You are amazing.
Let's all say thank you so much to Jan and Louise for today. Make sure you stay on for a poll, but have a wonderful day.
Thank you, Jan. Thank you, Louise.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Adrian.
Thank you,
Thank
Jan.
you.
Thank you, Louise.
Thank
you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Yes, thank
Bye.
you.
Bye.
Bless you, Louise and Jan.
See you later, Jan.
This was great.
Thank you, Alex. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Louise.